The UES Resilience looked like a floating junkyard as it slowly moved toward Nexus Station. Captain Hyun-woo Kim stood on the bridge, watching the massive space station grow larger on the main screen. His ship was ugly compared to the sleek alien. Vessels docked around the station. The hull was patched with different metals and the weapons looked old and rough. "Captain, we're getting some interesting looks from the other ships," said Commander So Young Park, his first officer. She was looking at her screen with a small smile. "The aliens seem very amused by our arrival." Hyun-woo nodded. He had seen this reaction before. Every time the Resilience visited an alien port, the other species would point and laugh. They thought humans were stupid and weak. Their ships were beautiful and powerful, while human ships looked like they were built from spare parts. "Let them laugh," Hyun-woo said quietly. "We have work to do here." The Resilience moved slowly into its docking position. Around them, alien ships gleamed in the station's lights. There were ships from the Hegemony Council, the group that ruled most of the galaxy. These ships had smooth hulls and perfect designs. They looked like works of art compared to the human vessel. Chief Engineer Dae-ho Lee came onto the bridge. He was an older man with gray hair and oil stains on his uniform. "Captain, the docking systems are ready, though I heard some alien engineers laughing about our primitive technology over the radio." "What did you tell them?" So Young asked. Dae-ho grinned. "I told them our technology works just fine. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways." As the ship docked, Lieutenant Ji-hai Choi looked up from her communication station. She was young and smart, and she spoke many alien languages. "Sir, I'm picking up lots of chatter from the alien ships. They're making jokes about us. They're calling our ship a space trash can and saying humans are playing at being warriors." Hyun-woo felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his face calm. He had heard these insults many times. The aliens thought humans were new and stupid. They had been traveling through space for thousands of years while humans had only reached the stars recently. "Ignore them," he said. "We have supplies to pick up and trade agreements to discuss." The crew prepared to leave the ship. Sergeant Tae-min Yoon gathered his Marines. They would provide security during the visit. Dr. Yoon Ji-han packed her medical, supplies, and research notes. She studied alien biology and had learned many interesting things about the different species. When the airlock opened, they were met by station officials. The aliens looked at the human crew with barely hidden amusement. The station manager was a tall, thin creature with blue skin and 4 arms. He spoke in perfect human language, but his tone was condescending. "Welcome to Nexus Station," he said. "We have prepared basic accommodations for your unique needs. Please try not to touch anything important." So Young clenched her fists, but Hyun-woo put a gentle hand on her arm. "Thank you for your hospitality," he said politely. As they walked through the station, other aliens stared and whispered. Some pointed at their simple uniforms and basic equipment. The humans felt like animals in a zoo. The alien technology around them was beautiful and advanced. Lights moved in patterns they didn't understand, and machines hummed with power. They reached the trading center where Captain Zilneth was waiting. He was from one of the most powerful alien species, and his uniform was covered in medals and decorations. His ship was one of the largest docked at the station, a massive cruiser that could probably destroy the Resilience with one shot. "Ah, the humans arrive," Zilneth said with a cold smile. "I was curious to meet the species that thinks it can compete with the established powers of the galaxy." "We're not here to compete," Hyun-woo replied. "We're here to trade and learn." Zilneth laughed. It was not a kind sound. "Learn? What could you possibly learn that would matter? Your ships are crude, your weapons are primitive, and your technology is centuries behind ours. You should be grateful we allow you to exist at all." The other aliens in the trading center laughed along with him. They seemed to find the idea of humans as equals very funny. Some of them took pictures of the human crew like they were exotic pets. "Perhaps," Zilneth continued, "you should return to your little planet and leave space travel to those who understand it." Dae-ho stepped forward, his face red with anger. "Our ships may look rough, but they work. We've crossed the same distances as you, haven't we?" "With great difficulty, I'm sure," another alien said. We've heard stories of human ships breaking down and needing rescue from real vessels. The insults continued for several minutes. The aliens seemed to enjoy making fun of human technology and capabilities. They talked about humans like they were children playing with dangerous toys. Finally, the trade meeting began. The humans needed supplies and parts for their ship. The aliens offered unfair deals and expensive prices. They knew humans had few options and couldn't afford to make enemies. These prices are 3 times the normal rate, So Young said, looking at the contracts. Supply and demand, Zilneth replied with a shrug. Perhaps if humans had better technology, you could produce these items yourselves. As the meeting dragged on, Jihai noticed something concerning on her scanner. A large fleet was approaching the station. The ships were massive and heavily armed. She quietly informed the captain. Hyunwoo looked at the data. It was Admiral Vorthak's fleet, one of the most powerful military forces in the hegemony. 200 ships, including massive dreadnoughts and fast attack cruisers. They were coming directly toward Nexus Station. Why would such a large fleet come here? Dr. Han asked quietly. Before anyone could answer, Admiral Vorthak's image appeared on the station's main screens. He was an impressive alien with dark skin and glowing eyes. His uniform showed his high rank and many victories. Attention all vessels at Nexus Station, his voice boomed through the speakers. The Hegemony Council has decided that the human presence in this sector has become problematic. The human vessel will be destroyed as an example to other inferior species who forget their place. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to the human crew. Zilneth smiled cruelly. It seems your time playing among the stars has come to an end. Hyunwoo felt his heart racing, but he kept his voice steady. We are in neutral space. You have no authority here. We have the authority of superior firepower, Vorthak replied. You have 1 hour to prepare your final messages. Then we will demonstrate why humans should never have left their homeworld. The transmission ended. Around them, aliens whispered excitedly. Some seemed pleased that the upstart humans would finally be put in their place. Others looked almost sad, as if watching the end of an amusing show. The human crew stood alone in a room full of enemies, facing impossible odds with only their battered ship to protect them. The human crew rushed back to the Resilience as fast as they could. Admiral Vorthak's fleet was getting closer every minute, and they had less than an hour before the attack would begin. The station's corridors seemed longer now, and the alien stairs felt more hostile. Move, move, move! Sergeant Taemin shouted to his Marines as they ran through the docking bay. Other alien crews were backing their ships away from the human vessel, not wanting to be caught in the crossfire. Captain Hyunwoo was the last to board. As the airlock sealed behind him, he could see alien ships already starting to leave the Yao area. They wanted to watch the show, but from a safe distance. All stations prepare for immediate departure, he called over the ship's communication system. We're about to have company. Chief Engineer Dae-ho was already in the engine room, checking all systems. His hands moved quickly over the controls as he brought the ship's power to full capacity. The engines hummed with energy, but they still sounded rough compared to alien technology. Captain, Dae-ho called over the comm. All systems are running, but I need to tell you something important. Come to engineering when you can. Commander So Young took her position at the tactical station. Her screen showed the approaching alien fleet, 200 ships in perfect formation, moving like a wall of death toward their location. Sir, they have us completely outgunned, she reported. Their smallest cruiser has more firepower than our entire ship, and they have fighters, bombers, and support vessels. Lieutenant Jihai was busy at her station, trying to gather information about the enemy fleet. Her fingers danced across the keyboard as she accessed every database she could find. Captain, I'm reading their ship specifications, she said. Most of their weapons are energy-based. Plasma cannons, laser arrays, particle beams. Their shields are designed to stop those types of weapons. Dr. Yoonji Han had moved to the medical bay, but she was also working on something else. She had spent years studying alien biology and technology, and now that knowledge might save their lives. I've been analyzing alien ship designs, she called to the bridge. They build their ships for beauty and efficiency, but that makes them predictable. They all follow the same patterns. Hyunwoo made his way to the engineering section. Daeho was waiting for him with a serious expression. Around them, the engine room looked like a museum of old human technology mixed with parts from a dozen different sources. "Captain, there's something I haven't told anyone about this ship," Daeho said quietly. "When we built the Resilience, we didn't just patch her together from spare parts. We designed her specifically to fight enemies who think they're better than us." He led Hyunwoo to a control panel that looked different from the others. It was hidden behind what appeared to be normal maintenance access. "These aren't regular ship cannons," Daeho explained, pointing to weapons control systems. "They're railguns disguised to look like old chemical projectile weapons. The aliens designed their shields to stop energy weapons, but kinetic projectiles can punch right through them." Hyunwoo stared at his engineer with new respect. "What else haven't you told me?" Daeho grinned. "The armor plating that looks random and patched together? It's actually designed to redirect incoming fire and absorb impact in ways alien weapons weren't designed to handle. And our engines may sound rough, but they can do things alien engines can't." Back on the bridge, So-young was studying the enemy formation. She had been trained in military tactics at the academy, but she had also studied history. She knew that sometimes the smaller force could win if they were smarter and more creative. "Ji-hee, can you access their communication systems?" she asked. "I'm trying, but their security is strong," Ji-hee replied. "I might be able to jam their signals or create interference." Dr. Han returned to the bridge with a datapad full of information. "I've been thinking about alien psychology," she said. "They're used to fighting other aliens who follow the same rules they do. Honorable combat, formal tactics, predictable strategies. They won't expect us to fight dirty." Taemin came onto the bridge with his Marine squad. They looked ready for battle, but also worried about the odds they were facing. "Sir, if they try to board us, we're ready," he reported. "But if they just blow us up from a distance, there's not much we can do." "That's not how the hegemony fights," So-young said. "They like to show their superiority. They'll want to defeat us in a way that proves how much better they are." Through the main view screen, they could see Admiral Vorthak's fleet approaching. The ships were beautiful and terrifying. Each one was larger than the Resilience, and they moved in perfect formation like dancers in a deadly ballet. "Incoming transmission," Ji-hee announced. Admiral Vorthak's face appeared on the screen. Behind him, his bridge crew looked confident and professional. Everything about his ship spoke of advanced technology and overwhelming power. "Human vessel," he said in a voice that was calm and cold. "You are completely surrounded. My fleet will demonstrate to the galaxy what happens when inferior species try to act as equals to their betters." "We're in neutral space," Hyunwoo replied. "We have the right to be here." Vorthak laughed. "Rights are for those with the power to defend them. You have no power here. Surrender now and your deaths will be quick." "We won't surrender," Hyunwoo said firmly. "Then you will die slowly," Vorthak replied. "My ships will take you apart piece by piece while the galaxy watches. When we are finished, everyone will remember what happens to species who forget their place." The transmission ended. Around the Resilience, the alien fleet spread out in a perfect circle. They moved slowly and deliberately, savoring the moment. "They're playing with us," So-young observed. "They want to make this last." "Good," Daeho said over the comm. "That gives us time to prepare some surprises." In the medical bay, Dr. Han was preparing for casualties. She knew the next few hours would be the most dangerous in human history. If they lost this fight, it wouldn't just mean their deaths. It would mean humanity would never be taken seriously in the galaxy. "Captain," Ji-hee called out, "I'm detecting something interesting. The alien ships are all connected to the same communication network. If I could hack into it—" "Do it," Hyunwoo ordered. "Find any weakness you can." Taemin positioned his Marines at key points throughout the ship. If the aliens tried to board them, they would be ready. But he also prepared his men for the possibility that they might need to board alien ships instead. "Listen up, everyone," Hyunwoo announced over the ship's comm system. "I know the odds look impossible. I know everyone in the galaxy expects us to lose, but we're human. We've never had things easy, and we've never given up when things looked hopeless. He looked around the bridge at his crew. These people had volunteered to serve on a ship that nobody respected, in a service that aliens laughed at. But they were here anyway, ready to fight and die for humanity's future. We may not have the best weapons or the most advanced technology, he continued, but we have something they don't. We know what it's like to be underestimated. We know how to turn disadvantages into advantages, and we know how to fight when everyone expects us to lose. Outside, Admiral Vorthak's ships began to move into attack position. Energy weapons powered up, and targeting systems locked onto the human vessel. The battle was about to begin. Admiral Vorthak's fleet moved into perfect attack formation. The alien ships looked like deadly flowers blooming around the small human vessel. Energy weapons glowed with power as they prepared to fire. All ships, prepare to demonstrate alien superiority. Vorthak's voice echoed across the communication channels. Fire warning shots first. Let the humans know their time has come. Bright beams of energy lanced out from a dozen alien cruisers. The shots passed close to the Resilience, lighting up the darkness of space. The aliens expected the human ship to surrender immediately, as most species did when faced with such overwhelming force. Instead, Captain Hyunwoo gave a different order. All weapons, target the lead cruiser, he commanded. Show them what human engineering can do. The Resilience's weapon systems came alive. What looked like old, crude cannons suddenly revealed their true nature. The railguns that Daeho had disguised as primitive weapons fired with devastating effect. Solid metal projectiles shot out at incredible speed. The alien cruiser's shields, designed to stop energy weapons, offered no protection against the kinetic bombardment. The first projectile punched through the shield like it wasn't there and slammed into the ship's hull. The alien cruiser shuddered under the impact. Warning lights flashed across its bridge as the crew realized their shields had failed to stop the attack. Impossible! Captain Zilneth shouted from his own ship. Human weapons are primitive. They shouldn't be able to penetrate our defenses. But the Resilience wasn't finished. Commander So Young had studied the alien formation carefully, and now she put her knowledge to use. The aliens flew in perfect patterns, following rules that had been used for centuries. They were predictable. Hard to port, Hyunwoo ordered. Take us through their formation. The Resilience dove toward the alien fleet instead of running away. This was not what the aliens expected. Their targeting systems had been programmed to track fleeing enemies, not ships that charged directly at them. Daeho's engine modifications proved their worth. The human ship moved in ways that alien vessels couldn't match. While alien ships were fast and elegant, they followed predictable flight patterns. The Resilience moved like a wild animal, changing direction in ways that confused the enemy targeting. Computers. They're jamming our communications, an alien officer reported to Admiral Vorthak. Lieutenant Ji Hai had found weaknesses in the alien communication network. Her jamming signals created chaos in their formations. Ships that had relied on constant communication suddenly couldn't coordinate their attacks. Dr. Han's research also began to pay off. She had studied alien psychology for years, and now she used that knowledge as a weapon. Working with Ji Hai, she broadcast messages designed to create fear and confusion among the alien crews. Attention, alien fleet, her voice echoed through. Their communication systems. You are fighting humans. We do not follow your rules. We do not fight with honor. We fight to win. The psychological warfare worked better than expected. The alien crews had never faced an enemy that didn't follow the established rules of combat. They were used to formal battles with predictable tactics. The Resilience fired again, and another alien ship took damage. The railgun projectiles were devastating against shields designed for energy weapons. Each hit caused massive damage that the aliens couldn't understand or counter. How are they doing this? Vorthak demanded from his flagship. Their weapons should be useless against us. His tactical officer was studying the sensor readings with confusion. Sir, they're not using energy weapons at all. They're firing solid projectiles at extremely high velocity. Our shields can't stop them. Meanwhile, the Resilience continued its wild flight through the alien formation. So Young directed the ship's path with brilliant tactical skill. She used the aliens' own ships as shields, making it impossible for the fleet to fire without risking hitting their own vessels. Above us, below us, they're everywhere. An alien pilot screamed over the radio. The fear was spreading through the alien fleet like a disease. They had expected an easy victory against primitive humans. Instead, they were facing an enemy that fought like nothing they had ever encountered. Sergeant Tayman and his Marines weren't just standing by either. They had modified the ship's external systems to create new weapons. Explosive charges normally used for mining were repurposed to space mines. They drifted toward alien ships like harmless debris until they exploded with devastating effect. They're using mining explosives as weapons, another alien captain reported in shock. The aliens couldn't understand human tactics because humans fought with everything they had. There were no rules about what weapons were acceptable or what tactics were honorable. There was only survival. Deho pushed the engines beyond their normal limits. The ship groaned and shook, but it held together. Years of experience with limited resources had taught humans to make their equipment last under impossible conditions. Engine power at 120% and holding, he reported to the bridge. Admiral Vorthak's perfect formation began to break apart. Ships that had flown in beautiful patterns now scattered as their captains tried to avoid the unpredictable human vessel. The psychological effect was devastating. "Reform the battle line," Vorthak ordered, but his captains were too panicked to obey. The Resilient struck again and again. Each attack was different from the last. Sometimes they used railguns, sometimes explosives, sometimes they simply rammed into alien ships with their reinforced hull. "They're insane," one alien captain broadcast. "They just rammed the cruiser Denthara." What the aliens didn't understand was that the Resilients had been designed for this kind of combat. The random-looking armor plating was actually carefully designed to absorb and redirect impact. When the human ship rammed enemy vessels, it caused massive damage to the aliens while suffering only minor harm itself. The battle that was supposed to last only minutes had already continued for an hour. The supposedly superior alien fleet was in chaos while the single human ship continued to fight with terrifying effectiveness. "Sir," Jihai reported, "I'm picking up communications from the other alien ships. They're starting to question whether they can win this fight." Dr. Han smiled grimly as she monitored the alien communications. "Fear is our greatest weapon now. They came here expecting to face a primitive species. Instead, they're fighting something they can't understand or predict." 3 more alien ships had been damaged or destroyed. The others were starting to pull back, no longer confident in their ability to defeat the humans easily. Admiral Vorthak realized that his reputation and the reputation of the entire hegemony was at stake. If word spread that a single human ship had defeated part of his fleet, it would change everything. "All ships, concentrate fire on the human vessel," he ordered, desperately. "Destroy them now before they can cause more damage." But the aliens had waited too long. Their perfect formation was broken, their communications were jammed, and their confidence was shattered. The Resilients had already proven that human determination and ingenuity could overcome alien technology and arrogance. Captain Hyun-woo looked at his crew with pride. They had done the impossible. They had taken on the might of the hegemony and not only survived, but won. "Continue the attack," he ordered calmly. "Show them what humans can really do." The alien fleet was in complete chaos. Ships that had moved in perfect formation now scattered across space like frightened animals. Admiral Vorthak's beautiful battle plan had collapsed under the reality of human warfare. "Impossible." "Captain," Zilneth screamed from his bridge as another of his escort ships exploded. "These humans are animals. They don't fight with honor." Commander So-young heard his transmission and smiled coldly. "Honor doesn't keep you alive," she muttered as she planned their next attack. The Resilients moved through space like a predator hunting prey. Chief Engineer Deho had pushed the engines far beyond their design limits, but somehow they kept working. The ship twisted and turned in ways that confused the alien targeting systems. "Captain, I'm reading panic on the alien communication channels," Lieutenant Jihai reported. "Several ships are requesting permission to withdraw." "Denied," Admiral Vorthak's voice roared across the radio. "No ship leaves until the humans are destroyed." But his authority was cracking. The alien captains had expected an easy victory, not a desperate fight for survival. They had never faced an enemy that refused to follow the rules of civilized warfare. Dr. Yoonji Han continued her psychological warfare campaign. Her broadcasts played on the deepest fears of each alien species. She had studied their cultures for years and knew exactly what would terrify them most. "Your perfect formations mean nothing," her voice echoed through the alien fleet. "Your advanced technology cannot save you. We are human, and we fight to survive." The words had more effect than any weapon. The alien crews began to doubt their superiority for the first time in centuries. If humans could fight like this, what other species might be capable of similar resistance? Sergeant Taemin and his Marines had turned the ship's cargo bay into a weapon factory. They were building improvised explosives and boarding equipment from spare parts. The aliens thought humans were primitive, but humans knew how to make deadly weapons from almost anything. "Ready for boarding action, Captain," Taemin reported. "If any of those alien ships get close enough, we'll show them what human Marines can do." The battle had been raging for 2 hours now. The alien fleet had lost 12 ships, while the Resilience was battered but still fighting. What had started as entertainment for the aliens had become a nightmare. "Sir, the alien formations are completely broken," So Young reported with satisfaction. "They're fighting as individual ships now, not as a coordinated fleet." This was exactly what she had hoped for. Alien tactics relied on perfect coordination and communication. Without those advantages, their individual ships were much less dangerous. The Resilience swooped down on an isolated cruiser like a hawk attacking a rabbit. The alien ship tried to turn and run, but Daeho's engine modifications gave the human vessel superior maneuverability. "Target their engine section," Hyunwoo ordered. The railguns fired again. Solid projectiles slammed into the alien cruisers, engines at incredible velocity. The ship lost power and began to drift helplessly through space. "We surrender," the alien captain broadcast desperately. "Please don't destroy us." It was the first time in the battle that aliens had asked for mercy from humans. The psychological impact on the rest of the fleet was enormous. "Another ship is requesting permission to withdraw," Jihai reported. "Actually, make that 3 ships. Admiral Vorthak was losing control of his fleet. The captains who had been eager to show human inferiority were now looking for ways to escape the battle alive. "Any ship that retreats will be branded as coward," Vorthak threatened. The hegemony does not run from primitive species, but his threats were losing their power. The alien captains could see what was happening. The primitive humans were winning, and nothing could change that fact. The Resilience turned toward another group of alien ships. These were smaller vessels, fighters and light cruisers that relied on speed and numbers. They should have been able to overwhelm the single human ship easily. Instead, they found themselves facing tactics they couldn't understand. The human ship used the debris from destroyed vessels as cover, hiding among the wreckage until alien ships came close enough for devastating attacks. "They're using our own destroyed ships against us," one pilot reported in horror. Dr. Han monitored the alien communications with growing satisfaction. The fear in their voices was obvious now. They had come to demonstrate their superiority, but instead they were learning that humans could be just as dangerous as any species in the galaxy. "Jihai, how many ships have we disabled or destroyed?" Hyunwoo asked. 18 confirmed kills, sir, and at least a dozen more have taken significant damage." That meant the alien fleet had lost almost 20% of its strength to a single human ship. The news would spread across the galaxy within hours, and nothing would ever be the same. Admiral Vorthak realized that his reputation and his career were finished, unless he could somehow turn the battle around. He made a desperate decision. "All remaining ships focus fire on the human vessel," he ordered. "I don't care if we have to destroy half the fleet to do it. That ship must not survive to tell this story." The remaining alien ships began to converge on the Resilience. There were still more than 100 vessels left, and they were finally working together again. Energy weapons charged up as the aliens prepared for one massive coordinated attack. But the humans weren't finished surprising their enemies. Daeho had been saving the ship's most secret weapon for exactly this moment. "Captain, remember those extra armor plates I installed?" he called from engineering. "They're not just for protection, they're also reactive explosive panels. If enough ships get close to us, Hyunwoo understood immediately. Can you control the explosions? Each panel can be triggered individually, Daeho confirmed. We can turn our entire ship into a giant fragmentation bomb. It was a dangerous plan. If they mistimed the explosions, they would destroy themselves, along with the enemy. But it might be their only chance to survive the coordinated alien attack. Do it! Hyunwoo ordered. All hands brace for explosive decompression. The alien fleet closed in like a net, energy weapons ready to fire. They thought they finally had the humans trapped. But the Resilients had one more surprise waiting for them. As the alien ships came within close range, Daeho triggered the reactive armor panels. The explosions turned the human ship into the center of a massive blast that caught the alien vessels completely by surprise. Metal fragments and explosive force rippled outward in all directions. Ships that had been closing in for the kill found themselves caught in a deadly storm of debris and energy. The aliens had never seen anything like it. They couldn't believe that any crew would deliberately detonate explosives on their own ship. It seemed like suicide, but somehow the Resilients survived while alien ships all around them were torn apart by the blast. Impossible! Vorthak screamed, as he watched a dozen more of his ships disappear in the explosion. The human ship emerged from the blast damaged but still fighting. The aliens were learning that humans would do anything to win, even things that seemed completely insane. Dictio. Tide of battle had turned completely. What had started as alien superiority had become human dominance through sheer determination and creative thinking. Captain Hyunwoo looked at his battered but victorious crew. They had proven something important today. Humans might not have the best technology or the most beautiful ships, but they had something the aliens lacked. They had the will to keep fighting when everything seemed hopeless. Admiral Vorthak stared at his tactical display in disbelief. Half of his mighty fleet was gone, destroyed or disabled by a single human ship. The perfect formation that had been the pride of the hegemony was now scattered wreckage floating through space. This cannot be happening, he whispered to himself. We are the superior race. We have the better technology. We should have won hours ago. His flagship, the massive dreadnought Eternal Glory, was one of the most powerful warships ever built. It was 10 times larger than the human vessel and armed with weapons that could destroy entire cities. Surely this primitive ship could not stand against such overwhelming force. All remaining ships retreat to safe distance, Vorthak commanded. I will handle the humans personally. The surviving alien vessels pulled back gratefully, leaving their admiral to face the Resilients alone. Many of the alien captains were secretly relieved. They had seen what the human ship could do, and they wanted no part of the final confrontation. Captain Hyunwoo watched the massive alien flagship approach on his main screen. The Eternal Glory was beautiful and terrifying, covered in weapons and armor that gleamed in the starlight. It looked like something built by gods rather than mortals. Sir, that ship has more firepower than our entire home fleet, Commander So Young reported nervously. Their main guns could vaporize us with a single shot. Then we'll have to make sure they don't get a chance to fire, Hyunwoo replied calmly. Chief, Engineer Daeho's voice crackled over the communication system. Captain, the engines are holding together, but we've pushed them as far as they can go. I can give you maybe 1 more hour of full power before they start breaking down. Dr. Yoonji Han had been monitoring the alien communications, listening to the chatter between the flagship and the rest of the fleet. What she heard gave her an idea. Captain, I think I understand why Admiral Vorthak is fighting us alone, she said. It's not just about defeating us, it's about proving that alien superiority is real. If he can't defeat a single human ship with his personal flagship, his reputation will be destroyed. Lieutenant Ji Hai looked up from her station with excitement. Sir, that gives us an advantage. If this is personal for him, he'll make emotional decisions instead of smart tactical choices. Sergeant Taemin and his Marines were already preparing for what might come next. They had built portable cutting, tools and explosive charges from spare parts. If they got a chance to board the alien flagship, they would be ready. Marines, listen up, Taemin called to his soldiers. That alien ship is huge, but it's also built for beauty instead of defense. If we can get inside, we might be able to cause more damage than they expect. The Eternal Glory moved closer, its weapon systems charging with deadly energy. Admiral Vorthak appeared on the main screen, his face twisted with anger and humiliation. "Human Captain," he snarled, "you have embarrassed me in front of the entire galaxy. You have made fools of the hegemony fleet. For that, you will die slowly and painfully." "We only wanted to trade and coexist peacefully," Hyunwoo replied. "You started this fight, not us." "Coexist?" Vorthak laughed bitterly. "Inferior species do not coexist with their betters. They serve or they die. Today, you will learn your proper place." The alien flagship opened fire with everything it had. Energy beams lanced through space, each one carrying enough power to destroy a city. The Resilience twisted and dove, using every trick Daeho had built into the ship's design. But even human ingenuity had its limits. One of the energy beams clipped the ship's hull, sending sparks flying across the bridge. The lights flickered and alarms began to sound. "Hull breach on Deck 7, someone reported. "Emergency force fields are holding, but we've lost some of our armor plating." So Young studied the alien flagship carefully, looking for any weakness they could exploit. The ship was massive and well defended, but it was also built according to alien ideas of beauty and perfection. "Captain, look at their weapon placement," she said suddenly. "All their big guns are on the front and sides. They have almost no rear defenses because they never expected anyone to get behind them." It was a brilliant observation. The aliens built their ships to fight honorable battles where enemies faced each other directly. They had never considered that an opponent might use dirty tactics to attack from unexpected angles. "Daeho, can you get us behind that ship?" Hyunwoo asked. "It'll be dangerous," the engineer replied. "We'll have to fly through their engine wash, and those drives put out enough radiation to cook us. But if we time it right..." "Do it," Hyunwoo ordered. The Resilience dove toward the alien flagship like a fighter attacking a bomber. The Eternal Glory tried to turn and track them, but the massive ship was too slow and unwieldy to match the human vessel's maneuverability. Admiral Vorthak screamed orders at his crew. Turn, don't let them get behind us," but it was too late. The Resilience slipped past the alien ship's defenses and positioned itself directly behind the massive engines. From this angle, the flagship's powerful weapons couldn't target them. "Now what?" So Young asked. "Our weapons aren't powerful enough to penetrate their rear armor." Dr. Han had been studying the alien ship's design, and now she had another idea. "Captain, we don't need to penetrate their armor. We need to get inside their ship." "What do you mean?" Hyunwoo asked. "Look at their engine exhausts," she explained. "Those openings lead directly into the ship's interior. If we could send something through those channels..." Sergeant Taemin understood immediately. "A boarding party. We could use the escape pods as assault vehicles and fly right into their ship through the engine ports." It was an insane plan. The engine ports were filled with deadly radiation and superheated gases that would kill anyone who tried to enter them. But the Marines had an idea that might work. "The mining suits in Cargo Bay 3, one of the Marines suggested. "They're designed to work in hostile environments. If we modify them for space combat..." Taemin nodded. "It's crazy enough that it might work. The aliens will never expect us to attack through their own engines." While the Marines prepared their boarding equipment, the Resilience stayed close to the alien flagship. Admiral Vorthak was becoming more frustrated by the minute as his powerful weapons remained useless. "Deploy fighters," he ordered. "If the main guns can't target them, send smaller ships to destroy them." Alien fighter craft poured out of the flagship's launch bays, but they faced the same problem as their mothership. In the narrow space behind the Eternal Glory, their superior numbers meant nothing. They got in each other's way and couldn't coordinate their attacks effectively. Ji-hai had been working on something else while the fighters launched. She had been studying the alien ship's communication and control systems, looking for vulnerabilities. "Captain, I think I can hack into their internal systems," she reported. "If I can create confusion on their bridge..." "Do it," Hyunwoo ordered. "Give our boarding party every advantage you can." The first wave of modified mining suits launched from the Resilience like bullets fired from a gun. The Marines inside wore the bulky radiation-proof suits, but they had added weapons and cutting tools that turned them into assault troops. Taemin led the way, as they flew directly into the alien engine ports. The radiation was intense and the heat was overwhelming, but the mining suits held together. They had been designed to work in the cores of dying stars, and even alien engines couldn't destroy them. "We're inside their ship," Taman reported, over the radio. "Beginning infiltration now." Admiral Vorthak finally realized what the humans were doing, but it was too late to stop them. His beautiful flagship, the symbol of alien technological superiority, was being invaded by primitives in mining suits. "Impossible!" he screamed. "No one attacks through engine ports. It's suicide." But the humans were already spreading through. His ship, using their knowledge of alien psychology and technology to cause maximum damage. They didn't try to fight the alien crew directly. Instead, they sabotaged critical systems and created chaos throughout the massive vessel. The battle had become something no alien had ever imagined. A handful of humans in mining suits were tearing apart the pride of the hegemony fleet from the inside out. Captain Hyunwoo watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. Against all odds, they were winning. Inside the Eternal Glory, Sergeant Taman and his Marines moved through the corridors like ghosts. The alien crew had never faced borders before, and they didn't know how to respond to humans who fought without following any rules. The Marines had studied the ship's layout during their approach, and Dr. Han's knowledge of alien psychology guided their attacks. They targeted the systems that would cause the most fear and confusion, rather than simply trying to destroy everything. Team 2, take out their internal communications, Taman ordered over his radio. Team 3, head for their life support. Controls, make them think we're trying to poison their air supply. The aliens were panicking. Their beautiful ship, designed for comfort and efficiency, became a maze of terror as humans appeared from impossible directions. The mining suits allowed the Marines to move through areas that aliens considered impassable. On the bridge of the Eternal Glory, Admiral Vorthak was losing control completely. His crew reported system failures throughout the ship, but they couldn't locate or stop the human invaders. "How many humans are aboard our ship?" he demanded. "Unknown, sir," his tactical officer replied nervously. "They could be anywhere. Our internal sensors can't track them through the engine sections." Meanwhile, Lieutenant Jihai had successfully hacked into the alien ship's computer systems. She began sending false alarms and contradictory orders throughout the vessel, adding to the chaos that the Marines were creating. "Warning, hull breach on all decks," the ship's computer announced in the alien language. "Warning, life support failure in engineering. Warning, intruders detected in captain's quarters." None of the warnings were real, but the alien crew didn't know that. They ran through their ship in panic, trying to respond to emergencies that didn't exist while the real human threat moved unseen through the shadows. Dr. Han monitored the alien communications and smiled at what she heard. "Captain, the alien crew is completely demoralized. They're starting to believe that humans have supernatural powers." This was exactly what she had hoped for. The aliens had built their entire culture around the belief that they were superior to all other species. When that belief cracked, they had nothing left to hold on to. Admiral Vorthak made one last desperate attempt to regain control. He ordered his remaining ships to fire on his own flagship, hoping to destroy the humans even if it meant sacrificing his own crew. "All vessels, target the Eternal Glory," he commanded. "Destroy this ship before the humans can escape." But his captains were horrified by the order. Firing on their own flagship was unthinkable, even in their current desperate situation. "Sir, we cannot fire on the Eternal Glory," one captain replied. "There are thousands of our people aboard that ship. Then we have already lost," Vorthak said quietly. The realization hit him like a physical blow. He had brought the pride of the hegemony fleet to destroy a single human ship, and instead that ship had destroyed everything he had worked his entire life to build. On the Resilience, Captain Hyunwoo received a communication from Taman. The Marine Sergeant had reached the alien flagship's bridge and was standing behind Admiral Vorthak with a weapon pointed at the alien commander's head. "Captain, the flagship is secure," Taman reported. "Admiral Vorthak wishes to discuss terms of surrender." The words echoed across the battlefield as every ship in the area heard the transmission. The commander of the hegemony fleet was surrendering. To humans. The supposedly inferior species had won a complete victory. Hyunwoo appeared on the main screen of every alien ship in the fleet. His uniform was dirty and torn from battle, but his eyes were steady and his voice was calm. "Alien fleet, this is Captain Hyunwoo Kim of the UES Resilience," he announced. "Your admiral has surrendered. Your flagship is under human control. Any ship that wishes to leave this area may do so without interference." The response was immediate. Ship after ship began to power down their weapons and request permission to withdraw. The alien captains wanted no part of a battle they could no longer win. Within an hour, the space around Nexus Station was almost empty. The mighty hegemony fleet had scattered to the winds, carrying news of their defeat across the galaxy. "Admiral," Forthak sat in his command chair like a broken man. Everything he had believed about alien superiority had been proven wrong by a single human ship and its crew. "How?" he asked quietly, when Hyunwoo came aboard the Eternal Glory. "How did you defeat us? We had better ships, better weapons, better technology." Hyunwoo looked at the alien commander with something that might have been pity. "You had all of those things," he agreed, "but you also had something else that we didn't have." "What?" Forthak asked. "You had arrogance," Hyunwoo replied. "You believed you were better than us, so you never tried to understand how we think or how we fight. You expected us to follow your rules and use your tactics." He gestured toward the damaged but victorious Resilience through the viewport. "We built our ship from spare parts because that's all we had. We fight dirty because we can't afford to lose. We never give up because giving up means death." The news of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light. Every species that had been oppressed by the hegemony heard the story of how humans had defeated the alien fleet. Some began to question whether alien superiority was real or just something they had been taught to believe. At Nexus Station, the aliens who had mocked the human crew now treated them with nervous respect. The station manager who had been so condescending now offered the humans the best accommodations available. "Please, honored guests," he said with obvious fear in his voice. "Anything you need, we are happy to provide." Commander So Young looked at the alien with cold eyes. "Just yesterday you called us primitives. Now we're honored guests. What changed?" The station manager shifted nervously. We were mistaken about human capabilities. Please accept our apologies." The victory had immediate political consequences. The Hegemony Council, faced with the reality that their fleet had been defeated by a single human ship, had no choice but to offer humanity a place at the negotiating table as equals. Within months, trade agreements were signed that gave humans access to alien technology and markets on fair terms. Other species that had been treated as inferiors by the hegemony began to demand similar treatment. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, and it all started with one battered human ship that nobody took seriously. Captain Hyunwoo and his crew returned to Earth as heroes, but they didn't let the victory go to their heads. They knew that the real work was just beginning. Humanity now had to prove that they deserved their place among the stars not just through military victory, but through wisdom and cooperation. The Resilience was offered a complete refit with the most advanced technology available, but Daeho refused. "This old ship got us this far," he said with a grin. "Let's see how much farther she can take us." The ship continued to patrol the borders of human space, no longer a laughingstock, but a legend. Other species learned to respect the battered vessel and its crew, knowing that appearances could be very deceiving. Years later, when alien children learned about the battle at Nexus Station, they were taught an important lesson. Never underestimate an enemy just because they look different or use different technology. The humans had proven that determination and creativity could overcome any advantage. And somewhere in space, the UES Resilience continued its mission, carrying the hopes and dreams of humanity to the stars. The ship that no one took seriously had changed the galaxy forever, proving that sometimes the greatest victories come from the most unexpected places. The warship had earned its place in history, not through beauty or advanced technology, but through the courage and ingenuity of the humans who sailed her into battle against impossible odds and emerged victorious.